This is the Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. What's going on, Sham?
You know, Shaka, I'm a little irritated.
Uh-oh. Irritated Sham. What's wrong?
You know, the pandemic is still here. We're still out here social distancing and being affected by the COVID-19.
We're supposed to be out here social distancing, but as we both talked about, many of us are not doing that.
Yes. So in the spirit of doing that and things being off of the shelves, things you can't find, this and that, masks there being a shortage of masks. So you got to think, man, I got to turn to the internet to try to find these things. And I've been scammed 3 times now.
Uh-oh. Scammed?
3 times. The
Wow.
first scam was some mask. Amazon straightened that out. The second scam was 409. You scamming folks on multi-purpose cleaner? I ordered some 409, and when I got it, it was clear. It wasn't blue. Now, folks, you're probably thinking, what the hell does that mean? I've been using 409 like my entire life, and the bottle I currently have has blue liquid inside.
Yeah.
So the 409 that I received did not have blue liquid inside. And I was like, is somebody really just pouring shit in bottles and trying to pass it off as 409? So Samsung rectified that. They gave me my money back.
Excellent.
And now I have ordered more masks, and I got those. They're supposed to be, layers of protection, this and this and that. Those masks were like thin pieces of foam that if you even try to stretch them around they might break. So then I am now in the process of filing a case with eBay so I can get my money back. But that's not where it ends. People have been trying me for real. So where I live, we don't have assigned parking spaces, but if you so choose, you can pay for one every month. Right in front of my building, there's a parking space. It has reserved sign on it. It is a metal sign. It is tall. It has the space number on it. I have a decal in my car that matches said space number. But recently, folks have been deciding that they don't give 2 shits about the reserve sign. They just park in my space. So I kind of lost my mind this morning. Shaka, you want to know what happened?
Uh-oh. Of course I do. Discord.
I drove up. I immediately started yelling. Why do people park in my space? And my sister's on the phone with me. So she's like, oh, hell, not again. Was it the same guy? And I'm like, no, it was a different car. So I said, F it. I'm calling the tow company. I called the tow company. They're like, all right, we'll be there in a second. Then they call me back and say they're not going to come tow the car because my landlord has to call, which is false because they don't call. The person who owns the space calls. It's always been that way.
Was it at least the same person who you talked to initially who told you they would come, or was it a different person?
It was the same tow company.
I understand it was the same company, but my point is when you first called and they told you they would come, was it the same person?
Yes,
from the company.
It was like the dispatch person.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying at least they should have been like, yo, I shouldn't even told you we would come. That's you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, tow company people are usually shitty people anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't take care. She gave me attitude when she called back and told me. So I was like, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What are you doing? So I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna park my car right in front of that car. So they can't leave unless I move my car. So they're gonna have to see my face if they want to go someplace.
Whoa, you basically double parked in front of them?
Absolutely. It's my space. But I have to find someplace else to park. Right there. What are we talking about?
Keep going.
So my towing attempt failed. So I said, you know what? I'm about to be a real petty person. So I go in the house, get comfortable, take my key fob, and I press the panic button. And I just let my car panic for like the next 5 minutes. Somebody gonna come outside and be like, what the hell is going on?
So you double parked essentially behind or whatever you want to say in the way of this car, and then went in the house and let your alarm basically go off?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry if I talked over. Did you actually call the landlord to make the call to the tow company?
No, because my level of petty had gotten so strong that I was like, oh, this is going to work.
So you were like, screw the landlord, screw all that. I'll handle this my way.
Basically.
Okay, keep going.
So I'm sitting here and I'm hearing it go off. And after like a minute or so, it goes off. So I have to turn it back on. So the second time, I hear someone slam the door and run outside. So I go look out the window. It's a guy who I guess owns the car that was in my space. And he's looking like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I can't get out, blah, blah, blah. So I said, oh, yeah. So I put my jacket on, I go back outside. He gets in the car. I roll right next to his window. And he looks at me and jumps. And I said, you see that sign right there? Do you see that sign? He's like, yeah. I said, you know what that sign means? You do not park here. He's like, I'm sorry. I said, you know what? When I come home from wherever I've been, I want to park in the motherfucking space that I pay for every month. You got that? Shaka, when I tell you he put his hands up like I was the cops and I was trying to like...
Yeah.
He put his hands up and looked at me and was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. What, this was today?
Yes, it was today. It was around like, I want to say 2:30, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I mean, you know the song Easy Like Sunday Morning. People don't expect smoke or Sunday. I mean, he should have because he prompted the situation, but you gave him too much smoke that beyond his expectations.
Oh, yeah. He was shaking. He was like, oh, my God, this is just crazy. Let me get out of here. And I nice and got in my car, moved out his way, and he drove off. But the part that I skipped was that the car had a sticker on the back. Once the tow company failed, I saw that there was a sticker on the back that said they use a ride share. I'm not going to say which ride share he was. Okay. But I said, oh, I'm going to contact the ride share people and have them call him and tell him to get the fuck out my space. Like, that's the level of petty I was on because I was pissed.
So wait, you say you were going to do it, but...
Well, I was in the process of doing it, but then I heard someone go outside.
He came outside. Okay. Wow. Well, how else was your day eventful? Was there anything else today?
No. Prior to that, I had gone to the new Sprouts farmers market and got me some nice fresh vegetables. That's
a very eventful day. I can tell you with confidence, I have not left my home besides like I haven't left the vicinity in about 2 weeks at least. Everything I've done has been either ordering, I've taken the trash out, that kind of stuff, stepped out on the porch for some air, everything else. And so, yeah, that's more excitement than I could have bargained for in a couple weeks.
Yeah, because it's like I've never really had this problem since I've lived here. Like a couple situations, people have parked in my space, and I've either told them or just had them towed. And I've never, like, if I've had that parking space now for maybe 5 years, maybe like 6 times somebody has parked in it, and that's just But of late, people have been repeatedly doing it. And even to a point, there was one car where I left a note on it and I was like, please don't park here. They literally parked in my space again like 2 days later.
Oh, they probably did it just because.
Yeah, I know.
You left a note.
Just because they're going to have to pick up the stuff from wherever. I actually reported that car to my landlord.
Yeah, that's...
because if I've asked you not to do it and you did it anyway, now you're disrespectful and now I got to be a level of petty that I really wasn't trying to be.
Yeah, nah, I get that. You know, I don't really have a story. Just a little anecdote on top of about the ride share. I'll go ahead and name this because it just happened. I ordered Uber Eats today, and
I've never ordered Uber Eats.
Well, yeah, and you know, you kind of spread it around, I spread it around. I've been mostly cooking from Instacart and stuff, but today I got a little lazy. It was Sunday. I was like, let me order. Bottom line is, one of the byproducts of the pandemic is that, you tell people to drop something off so they don't have to like knock on the door and actually give you your stuff. And it was the wrong order. I mean, when I say the wrong order, they brought it from the wrong restaurant. And it wasn't me.
Else's.
Correct. They gave me someone else's. And by the time that I saw the notification that they had already dropped it off and left, they were gone. So, yeah, I'm saying that Uber Eats because I've mostly been okay with them until today because of the volume, I guess. When I tried to get back on and like, you know, report, I got a template back talking about we're busy as I don't know what. Like, we'll get to your complaint when we get to it, basically. So my complaint is still pending because, quote unquote, high volume. So yeah,
Wow.
that's a I guess a byproduct of the pandemic that they have so many orders that they can't help you in real time when something's screwed up and you can't confront your driver. So I nice and politely changed that tip though, because I mean the address. There's a lot of information that the driver has to bring you the food. They bring you the entire wrong order. I can't. And I've never changed a tip. That was the first time I did that.
Oh yeah, you got to. Like, yeah. One of the reasons why I was very pro DoorDash for a long time. One of the reasons why I stopped using DoorDash is because they make you tip before they come. Whereas with Postmates, which is like my new favorite, you don't have to tip until after your order is already gotten to you. They ask you after the order to tip, and they tell you how, they ask you how it was, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing about Postmates that I do like is that they will deliver from pretty much anywhere. It doesn't have to be in their, their partnerships with restaurants or whatever. They'll deliver from anywhere. You just be like, put it in the restaurant and they'll just go get it and bring it. Sometimes the fee is a little higher, but I like the fact that they're willing to just do that. But I will give DoorDash an A+ for one thing. If you go on DoorDash right after you got your order and it's not right, they like instantly give you your money back. You don't have to. I
have seen that. That has happened with me with them. So yeah, I can vouch for that as well. Absolutely. But yeah, these are the trials. Now this parking story could have happened pandemic or not.
Oh yeah.
But it just sounds like you're dealing with some ignorant people. But the scams, that's pandemic.
It's absolutely pandemic related. I've been chatting with people about it, and they've been reporting the sellers and all this stuff. So I mean, they've been very cooperative because they know what's going on, and none of them has like Amazon, eBay, Sam's Club. None of them have been like, "Are you sure?" Like, no, not all of them have been like, "Yeah, all right, we got you. We'll take care of it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. Well, let's get to a couple of stories. I mean, it's been every week is still busy. Even with the pandemic, it slowed down a little bit, but now we have different types of busy.
Yeah.
We have different types of busy. So one thing we won't have, it seems like starting next week, are the ever-present daily White House briefings.
I don't believe it.
I actually do believe it because of the tweet that 45 put out to yesterday.
But he's a liar.
He is a liar. But the point being, but he when he's talking about how he feels about something and when his feelings get hurt, he tells the closest thing to the truth you can have. So basically, today's the 26th, Sunday. So he put out a tweet yesterday, Saturday, saying in the long run, he did two things. So the White House in and of itself put out a statement that said, we're not going to still do the briefings every day. So then right after that, he himself put a tweet out that said, basically like, what's the point of me doing a briefing every day? Because the media is hostile towards me. All they do is ask hostile questions, and it's a waste of my time and effort.
That's true. We never wanted the briefings.
Exactly. So, or we did, but we didn't want them to be hijacked by him.
Right.
When it was actually legitimate and the Fauci's of the world would come up and actually give us information, great. So for that reason, I do believe him in that I could see him being like, well, if this doesn't serve my purpose in terms of making me look good, which they definitely haven't lately, yeah, we're canceling those. Now, to your point, I don't think that will last because people will demand information. So what will probably end up happening, he'll cancel them. I'll be willing to bet a lot of good money we're not going to have one tomorrow, Monday. We're not going to have it because at minimum, he's not going to want to look dumb and have one 2 days after he sent the text. But he's going to, talk to his people. And then after that, you'll see Mike Pence starting to run him, which probably should have been what they should have been doing in the first place, especially since he was put in charge of the task force. But 45 felt like he should go out there and get some pub. Now, Sham, how did we get here? Well, we've both been saying that these briefings are horrible. Everyone knows that they've been horrible. Republicans, his supporters, everybody's been like, hey, listen, they've been coming at it from different angles, but the bottom line is like, you should stop doing this. But it came to a head. Why? Because on Thursday, the 23rd, my man comes out and gives the infamous, let's just paraphrase, we can stop this virus right now by injecting everyone with bleach and letting everybody go outside to get some sun.
Injecting everybody with disinfectant. And then 30 people in New York went and drank some damn disinfectant.
Oh my God. It's one of those things like, Sham, we've been telling people to drink bleach when they don't like them.
Yep.
So they'll be like, why don't you go out and drink bleach? I mean, the fact that people would actually do that after hearing the president say it is crazy.
People have been drinking bleach for years, though, to try to pass the test. So,
yes. But the fact that people who didn't do it before hearing him say that, heard him say that, and then went out and did it. Anyway. So at that press conference, Deborah Birx is there. She's not as, I guess, credible as Fauci is, in my opinion. Because Fauci,
not. She's horrible.
Yeah.
To be fair.
When Fauci is a bad idea, he shoots it down. Yeah. She didn't shoot it down. She didn't trumpet it, but when he kept asking her at the press conference, like, that's a good idea, right? She was like, I didn't hear anything about that, but
and she didn't even get out of her seat. She was still,
exactly.
She never even got up.
You could tell she was uncomfortable. Like, I'll believe this man's asking me this right now, like in front of all these people.
Her face told the story.
Yes, her face, her expression said, "What the hell are you talking about?" But she didn't say what the hell are you talking about, or even anything close to it. So that's why she's coming to question. And then she came on Meet the Press today and really ducked every one of Chuck Todd's questions. If Meet the Press had a better host, it probably would have been a more memorable interview because they would have pressed on it. But whatever.
I fell asleep on her.
Yeah. So, and then actually some of the guests on Meet the Press came back on later and they were like, yo, basically talking to him like, I mean, she didn't answer any of those questions and that was a terrible interview. And he was just looking crazy. But anyway, so she didn't.
My mom,
keep going.
When it was on, I said, you and Shaka and this Meet the Press. And she said, I have to watch it every Sunday. I said, yeah, he does too. But he thinks there should be a different host. And she said, well, what?
Did you tell her?
I told her, but the name is not, I can't find the name right now. But
Jay Tapper.
Yeah.
Jay Tapper. Yeah. Jay Tapper need to host it, but CNN ain't gonna let him go. But anyway, so that all of that happened. So that's Thursday. So then it completely blows up. Now, Sham, what's my favorite part of the story? What's our favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is that after this press conference on Thursday, Lysol immediately.
Lysol was like,
immediately.
What you're not going to do.
So, Sham, I always talk about rooms I want to be in.
Yes.
I want to be in the virtual room because they probably all at home when the executive of Lysol got a call from one of his people or his lawyer or somebody like, hey, listen, man, we need to put a statement out. Yeah. Why?
Lawsuits, man.
Yeah, listen, we need to get out in front of this. No, I don't even know what you're talking about. Look, man, Trump, the president with his press conference told people to inject and drink bleach. So, okay, but we didn't say that. Yeah, but people are gonna do it. You really think so? Yes, people are gonna do it. We need to get out in front of this right now. We already got it.
In fairness, Shaka, I don't even think it went that far. I think the president or executive of Lysol was probably watching the briefing and was like, "God damn it!" Like,
that would be funny too if he was like.
I just kind of feel like everybody in America was frozen in time and watching it at that point. Like, I think Lysol was just like, "Yo, what did you just say? Let's go."
I mean, they put that statement out. I mean, he probably hadn't even gotten from the press briefing room back to the Oval before they were like, this statement needs to go out right now. I love that statement. They were like, under no way, shape, or form should anyone be injecting or drinking bleach. This is completely illegitimate. Like, don't do it. And they probably should have put in fine print, and if you do it and die, we don't want to hear it. Because this has nothing to do with us. So yes, that was my favorite part of that story. So for now, Kate McKinney, who we talked about, she said that she's doubling down and saying that the president will still be able to communicate with the American people. So really what she's saying is he's still going to be tweeting up a storm, all kind of ignorant stuff. But she damn sure ain't say, well, I'll be starting the whole press briefings like the White House press secretary is supposed to do. She ain't say that. She just basically was like, yeah, they're off for now. So they're off for now.
But if it wasn't for the fact, because remember, in the beginning of this, I said I don't believe it, but now I may believe it a little based on like what we just discussed. But initially, I didn't believe it because I kind of felt like as long as Governor Cuomo is out here giving press conferences every day, I would think that 45 would still want to come out and do the same thing. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he moved his briefings to later in the day because he wanted to go after him.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I think that was definitely a reason. I think the other reason was he was doing such a bad job that it was killing the stock market. And every day they had to keep moving it to the afternoon because the stock market would like be going all over the place as he was talking. And it was creating instability, so they had to do it in the afternoon. But I agree with you.
I feel like you don't want Cuomo to keep making him look bad.
Oh, no. Yeah, I that's what I was about to say. Cuomo does make him look bad. Now, I think Cuomo, he's doing fine. I don't sit and watch his press conferences either because he meanders a lot. I sympathize with that because I do that, but he does it. And I don't live in New York, so a lot of stuff that he's talking about doesn't really have anything.
He's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Oh no, he's very good. It's just one of those things like, okay, well, we have our local stuff, which I think you'll be getting to, where that's time devoted because a lot of times that's at the same time.
Right.
So we have to watch our stuff. So that's that. And in that spirit, did you want to get to that now or?
Oh yeah, I just want to just go out here and say my governor is better than yours, and everybody else is listening. Because
Hulk Hogan.
Larry Hogan is out here making moves.
Yes, he is. Oh yeah. I mean, let's talk about the move, the major move he made. That even 45 was like, 45 made a point. Well, you go.
45 made a point to be like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So okay, so Governor Hogan, Larry Hogan, is married. His wife was born in South Korea. She still has connections from there. And they teamed up and he used her as a resource to secure 500,000 COVID tests.
Yes. For
the state of Maryland, which when that news broke, I bet every governor in the country was like, holy shit. Like God was thrown.
I mean, Black people all over the country was basically like, that's how you pull a hookup. Like
it is.
Like, let me tell you this. Again, I'm putting myself in the room. The governors talk to the president, especially the major high-profile governors like Cuomo and Hogan and DeWine and a few other people. Mm-hmm. They talk to the president every day. Now, there's a conference call with the governors, I want to say at least once a week, if not like twice a week, with every single governor on it.
And he's the president of the governors.
Right. And he's the president of the association. But there's some governors who basically have a direct line to 45 every day. He's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that conversation be like, so look, are we getting the test or not? Because you keep coming out here telling everybody we got all the tests. You're throwing us under the bus. Give us the test. Nah, I mean, the tests are what they are. That's on you. That's on me. All right, cool. Click. Sweetheart, that plan we talked about. Like, we need to do that right now. Screw this guy. Like, that's what he's telling wifey while she was sitting there like, I'm already on the phone, baby. Don't worry about it.
Right. But they have been working on that for a month.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they were literally not trying to pull the trigger until to see what 45 was going to do.
Exactly.
And he kept saying, well, first he was like, the test and the test. And he was like, well, if they need the test, all they got to do is contact me and I'll make sure they get the test. And
lying.
Exactly. So I'm sure Governor Hogan took heed and was like, all right, we need the test. So we have the test. And like you said, he was like, all right, baby, let's go.
Yeah. Like, I'm tired of dealing with this clown. And like I said, and to just finish the point, not only did he wait to see if he would deliver, but then the worst part is 45 was throwing the governors under the bus for not having the test.
Right.
So once he didn't deliver on providing the test, then instead of just saying, okay, well, it's not, we haven't been able to deliver this as quickly as possible, working on it. Then he just tried to shift it and be like, well, that's not our responsibility. It's theirs. Oh, it's mine. All right, cool. We already had that covered. Next. Sham, I like the meme that showed the picture of him and her with a plane behind them. With the test.
This was the first ever Korean Air Passenger plane to even come to BWI.
Oh, wow. That I didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah. Straight up with 500,000 tests sitting at BWI Airport from a South Korean lab called Lab Genomics.
That's great. Well, that's how you take care of your people.
It is.
All the politics aside and the jokes aside, the man got the job done and will get those tests out to his constituents. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for.
45 was like, the governor of Maryland could have called Mike Pence and could have saved a lot of money. That's one of those times where you just want to be like, N-word, please.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, kudos to him. Actually, a couple other governor notes that I forgot to include this outline. I'm sorry. This is just a quick mention. It's a developing story. Mike DeWine, who we talked about, the governor of Ohio, who is one of those governors that's like, look, I'll do what I want. Yes, I'm a Republican, but no, we're not opening and whatever. That's not why I brought him up. I brought him up because he pardoned or basically commuted the sentence of the young lady. And I forget her name. It just popped in my head right now. But she was a sex slave worker. Mm-hmm. And she killed the person who was enslaving her ended up getting killed in sort of a robbery plot. And she got life in prison. You remember this story? Remember who I'm talking about? I'm trying to look it up. But anyway, she was a young Black woman. This case kind of came to light last year. And I saw a story earlier and I meant to put it in the outline. I forgot. But Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, commuted her sentence and she's been released this weekend.
Wonderful.
Yes. So I saw that. And we had already been talking about him for how he handled this, but he just kind of slid this one in there this weekend. So good. That's Alexis good stuff Martin? There. Is she kind of light-skinned? And
sex trafficking survivor Alexis Martin being released from Ohio State Prison.
It is.
It happened. She's 22. Happened on the 17th. Yeah.
Yep.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yep. So felt that should be mentioned. And then finally on a world stage, before we kind of wrap up the news and politics, I also forgot to put this in the outline, but this is pretty damn major. Kim Jong-un is reportedly deceased.
He's reportedly a vegetable.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent that if he's not officially confirmed dead, he's basically brain dead and a vegetable. TMZ kind of came out and was like, we think he's dead. And when they say that, it's a wrap. The North Korean government clearly isn't releasing this information. They want to try to get their hands around the situation. His sister, Kim Yo, I know it's, I'm sorry?
Kim Yo Jung, I think.
Yo Jung, yeah.
Something like that.
I know it's a yo in there somewhere. That sounds terrible. But she is the presumptive successor. So I guess they're a little progressive in that sense, as long as it stays in the family.
But yo, progressive my ass. She is worse than him. Everybody's saying,
yeah.
She has put the fear of God in all of them. They would rather have him, and that's crazy. But a CNN report from earlier said that he's alive and well, despite speculation.
Yeah, there've been a lot of conflicting reports. It's newsworthy in that it's even on the table. This came about because he had to have heart surgery, emergency heart surgery. He had chest pains. They brought in a doctor from China to do this, and apparently the surgery did not go well. And I've heard the word botched used a few times, so that should be interesting. When I say conflicting reports, there was one report that the doctor from China who oversaw the surgery, he had COVID and gave it to him. So I mean, that's one of those things. Like, you're probably going to hear a bunch of stuff coming out of there about the sister. To your point, she has been his top advisor. When they were growing up together, they were schooled in like Switzerland or somewhere. Like they went to high school out of the country and then came back for college. And really, they were schooled pretty much in isolation. So they were saying this is his confidant. And the reason she's so dangerous is because, yes, he's evil and stuff like his father, but he's not as smart as her. That's the image that's being put out about her. She is smarter than him. She is the one that's been pushing a lot of the agenda and a lot of the propaganda. And in a lot of ways, he was a figurehead. And she drove a lot of sort of the imagery around his government, and a lot of the policy. She did it from behind the scenes, just because, I mean, he was the male and he was the son. But now, if she steps up and can have this power, I mean, yeah, she's more dangerous. She's smarter than him and sharper than him, by all indications. So yeah, this will bring a lot of instability to that region and to the world. So we'll see how this plays out. Either way, he's in bad shape, even if he's alive.
Kim Yo-jong,
there it is. So, and you see those pictures they have of her, she be looking evil.
Yeah. And what's funny is like the people's opinions were split. Like, there's all these feminists talking about, yeah. And then other people are like, yo, no.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. When I made the joke about progressive, I was just, it's sometimes a little jarring to be able to see in a country like that that's so oppressive. But to them, they don't care so much about the male-female aspect. It's like, you got to keep it in that family. They started communism in that country. And that dictatorship started with their grandfather. So they're just going to keep it in there regardless. Ugh. So we'll see how that plays out. Last thing in news and politics. So, Sham, I thought this would be a nice little wrap-up story for us, since we've talked about this several times, and I wanted to get your opinion. So there's been a lot of buzz within the domestic political scene about who Joe Biden's running mate choice will be. So the first name that kind of was really popped out there was Kamala Harris. Now, he has already committed to it being a woman. So that limits the options.
Well, and then a lot of people thinks it's going to be her.
Now, I was getting to Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams, and I can tell by how you said that what you already think of that. But or maybe I can't. So that's where I was going with this. I actually think Stacey Abrams would be a fantastic choice. Given everything we've talked about Stacey Abrams, what would you think of that choice?
I just think she's too smug. I mean, I don't know if I would care either way if she was actually the vice president. I just think it's something about the way she carries herself is just way too smug for me. Like, remember when we were talking about how she kind of turned her nose up at the idea of being a presidential candidate? And I think it was because maybe she had already known somewhere in the back of her mind that Joe Biden was going to select her, or she would be one of the people selected, or at least was in the running. But even as was she on? No, she wasn't on Meet the Press this morning, was she?
No. No.
She was on something that my
Yeah.
mom was watching, and just the way that she was sitting there before the interview, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll be back with Stacey Abrams," and she just had this smug look on her face, like, "See, this is why I didn't want to run, because I already knew I was going to be in the White House." Like, I just, it's just something about the way that she moves that it just irks me.
So I'm smiling from ear to ear. You basically did. You responded the way this is why I brought this segment up. So I agree with you in the sense that, given our discussions before, not only did she turn her nose, but we both believed, you a lot more strongly, that the reason she didn't do those other runs, especially for president, but also for senator, was that she didn't think she could win those. Mm-hmm. She didn't think she could win those, but she dressed it up for a different reason. And I kind of gave a very sugary reason why she could maybe wait. But this is exactly what I thought when I heard this, because they said that when she was told that she was considering it, that she would gladly, that was the word I was told that she used, gladly accept this offer if it's offered to her, which to me struck me as really? Because senator, running for senator at minimum, okay, running for president, fine, a little far-fetched if you think that. Running for senator, okay, you could do a lot more doing that than you could have done being somebody's vice president. Right. Now, with all that being said, I think she's a great choice. I think that if they play this correctly, what they could do is make her the vice presidential, make her the running mate, and then let her go out. And the one thing I would tell her to speak to all the time would be, I want you to pound into everyone's brain that you believe that your gubernatorial election was stolen because of shenanigans at the ballot box. Because we're going to need that message, because we don't know how voting is going to be in November. And that's the one thing that's going to prompt and motivate Black people, even if we don't have physical polling in a lot of places, to mail in their votes and do all that, because you can personally speak to have an election taken from you. If they do that, I think that's the right move. That's my thought about Stacey Abrams. But I completely agree. This was entirely too convenient. And I think in the back of her mind, this is exactly what she wanted. And let's keep it real, Sham, before we move on. She probably is telling herself, yeah, because I kind of stayed in the conversation so that I didn't end up like other also rans in a state right below me who also had a high profile and flamed out. Now, that was for personal reasons. I'm talking about Gillum. Mm-hmm. But the point being, yeah, she kind of waited in the winds until the thing she wanted popped up. And she kept her nose clean until then. So we'll see. But I agree with you. It leads a lot more credence to how skeptical you were for reasons before.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless you have anything else, that is all the political news we have for tape today. Sham, what happened last week? We've been talking a lot about some social battles, some social media. DJ, can you lay out for us how that went?
There's actually one happening right now. It's the gospel music extravaganza, Hezekiah Walker versus John P. Key. That should be amazing. But I will be checking that out later. Cool. Last week, we finally got Teddy Riley versus Babyface. Actually, we got it twice. It was supposed to be on Saturday night, but the quarterback of Team Too Much, Teddy Riley, on Saturday night was just doing the most. Sir, why don't Babyface was chilling in his studio, pressing buttons to play the songs. Meanwhile, Teddy got a whole entourage, got a hype man in the back, Teddy looked like he was on a sound stage, ready to perform a live concert.
Which is all great in terms of how he looked and then how to come out.
Everything he played was an echo. He started out strong, though. He started out with The Show, which a lot of people didn't realize was his, Dougie Fresh.
Okay.
But you couldn't enjoy it because he kept echoing. And everybody, star after star after star, celebrity after celebrity, was in the IG chat saying, yo, you echoing, fix your echo, get rid of the mic, kill it, go to the studio like Babyface. So this went on for about a half hour or whatever. And well, actually, they only got 3 songs each in, because then we had to take a little break to get Teddy, so Teddy could figure out what was going on. Then some random like camera dude kept coming in front of the phone, like pressing buttons. And then another girl who looked like she might have been an intern. Like, I swear Teddy had like 6 people in the room. It was crazy. And then he came back and they started over the same songs. And let me just say, by all of this happening, Babyface, it has like the patience of a saint. He's just chilling, smiling, whatever. And then they finally come back and there's more echo, blah, blah. So then Teddy says, give us to about 10:30 and we'll be back on. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, yo, he ain't even discussed this with Babyface.
Hey, kind of like we talked about with Primo, somebody got to executive produce this operation and keep it moving.
Right. Technically, the executive producers of it are Timbaland and Swiss Beats. So Swiss Beats on the phone calling him like, yo, you got to turn this off. He was literally coaching him like, dude, we can't have all this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So Teddy turns off the live. I switch over to Babyface's live. Babyface is like, yeah, so we're going to do this at another time. So you guys deserve a better battle, and we will do this once we figure it out. Fast forward to Monday night, which is when they rescheduled the battle. It was a total different scene.
Good.
He was in the room. He didn't have no entourage. He had no hype man dancing in the background.
Right.
But Babyface upgraded his room. He went from a smaller studio to a little bit larger studio, but was still like kind of small. You could see his Grammy sitting up in the background. He had on his crushed velvet blazer. Brother man had like the dark liquor in the background. He had the wine. He had a whole like mood. And Teddy was sitting there in his little room. Now, the music went a little different this time. They switched it up because the first time around, it wasn't as R&B heavy as you were saying that you expected it to be. It was very upbeat. So this time around, the mood was different. They started to play their songs. It was pretty good. But when I tell you, Teddy Riley just cannot control himself from doing too much. Like, it's like he kept getting up. And then at one point, he had to find a charger for his phone. Like, bro, you ain't know you was going to be sitting here using your phone for at least an hour. It needs to be just on the charger. And then another time, he just got up and was gone for like 5 minutes and never even said anything. So Babyface was just like, should I play you guys another song? Like, nah, that's not fair. Shame. That's not fair. I'm not going to do that. I'll wait till he gets back. But a couple key points during the battle.
Okay.
So they were going back to back, hit for hit. So at one point, Babyface decided, he said, well, this was one of my very popular songs. It got me some type of award. I don't know, something like that. He pulls out the guitar and starts playing When Can I See You Again on acoustic instead of playing the track. So then Teddy gets all uncomfortable. He's like, oh man, that's cheating. Like, I didn't know we could have instruments, blah, blah, blah. So I think that shook Teddy. He wasn't right at all after that. So, okay, go a couple more songs come through. I didn't realize that Teddy Riley did high fives. I like the way the kissing game. So Babyface goes, so how old were they?
I like that song, by the way. That's awesome. Incredible
song. Yeah. So how old were they when they did that? He said the youngest was, I think, like 16 and the oldest was 18. And then Babyface was like, you ever think that y'all should have probably kept that song? He's like, nah, we were too mature then. And he said, oh, well, the oldest was 18, right? Like, is that what you said? He's like, yeah. He said, well, this artist, no, he said, well, Bobby was 18 when we did this. And he pressed the button and it was the On Our Own from Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, wow.
So all through the night, people kept calling him Shady Face. But the shadiest thing he did was Teddy Riley played You Can Get a Piece of My Love.
Which I love that guy,
right? One of his most popular songs.
Yeah.
And after the song, Babyface was like, "Oh yeah, that was cool, blah blah blah." And then Teddy was like, "So, how'd you feel about that one?" He said, "Oh, that made me want to eat some Skittles."
Whoa. Whoa.
This man picked up some Skittles and started chewing on them. I was done. I was so
people were saying Babyface was wilding a little bit. I didn't know he had that kind of wild in him.
It was shady. And the other thing that he did that was like real okay, so and then after that song, Babyface played After Seven's Ready or Not.
Yeah.
Which people checked as that he won on that one. That one's kind of toss up. But I think I do like that After Seven song a little better. But so the one that was really like crazy. And so I forgot what Babyface had played, but right after it, Teddy played I Get Lonely by Janet Jackson, the remix.
I remember. Yep.
Chauncey Black from Blackstreet. So after he played that, Babyface was like, so did you write that, produce that, or did you remix that? He was like,
wow.
Teddy was like, yeah, I remixed it. And
basically Babyface was like, what's that doing on this challenge then?
He was like, oh, I didn't know we could do remixes, but I don't do, he was like, but I don't do remixes, so I guess I wouldn't know.
Yo, what the hell got the Babyface, man?
I don't know, but I loved every part of it. It was
good gracious.
It was great. I think maybe he was just feeling some kind of way because Teddy was. I feel like there were moments where Teddy Riley was just being very inconsiderate and wasting his time. And
well, yeah, I mean, he probably was like, "Look, man, I mean, I want to do this for the fans, but you've been wasting my time for basically 2 days. Like, this is crazy."
Yeah, and then Babyface played "I'll Make Love to You" by Boyz II Men, which everybody knows spent 14 weeks #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was one of the biggest songs. Like every Babyface song Babyface did with Boyz II Men spent like 2 months on the charts, 2.5 months on the charts. So he played that, and then Teddy Riley just disappeared. You didn't see him anymore.
So like, damn, what was that about? Yeah,
I don't know. I was like, dang, you play Boyz II Men and now you just tap out. I didn't get it. So then Teddy Riley was just gone, and that's when Babyface was like, should I just play y'all some songs? Like, I don't know, blah blah blah. So then you go over to Teddy Riley's live, and he had gone on, ran to another room where he had a keyboard and stuff, and started playing like live music from his keyboard and singing along to his songs. I was like, oh, so you're just gonna tap out of the battle and then just go to your own IG live and put on a show? I just thought that was crazy. So then Babyface was trying to like get into Teddy Riley's live, and people were typing like, Babyface is in here. He's trying to get in. Let him in so y'all can finish the battle. Let him in. Teddy was so busy playing the keyboard, he wasn't even paying attention. And so finally Babyface went back on his own live, and he was like, look, I got one more song for you guys, and then it's over. And he played like an inspirational song for us all during like to kind of deal with the COVID pandemic. And that was it.
Wow. Well, so thoughts in general, just overarching thoughts.
I think had it continued the first night, Babyface would have beaten him hands down. I think Teddy Riley had a couple days to think about it, and he started to pull out like some stronger hits. Nobody lost because they both are amazing producers, and they pretty much have, made the soundtrack of our lives.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt like there were times where Teddy was kind of salty because he kind of felt like he could, like with the guitar, and then like some of the like big hits that Babyface had, you could tell he was squirming. And I just didn't respect how he kept just getting up and leaving and not saying anything. It was just weird.
Yeah.
And I think he just really wanted to put on a live show and start playing because Babyface did.
That's cool. So did you hear talk about one of the next proposals?
Oh yeah, Diddy being thirsty, trying to find anybody to battle him. So Dr. Dre looks like is going to be the person. I don't know if you saw the Diddy dance or knew about the Diddy dance-a-thon that happened on IG last Sunday.
I did not.
So basically he was raising money. So he was on his IG live like all day, and different celebrities and stuff would come on and start dancing with him to his music. J-Lo and A-Rod were on there, and then that caused like a big stir. So during the dance-a-thon, he kept saying, I'll put my catalog up against anybody. I'll put it up against anybody who wants to be in a Verzuz with Diddy, blah, blah, blah. He said it at least 5 times. I said, oh, Diddy wants all the smoke. I guess he feels like, people aren't reaching out to him to do the Verzuz. So I guess Dr. Dre was like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, because at first I heard Dre didn't want to do it.
Nah, I don't think he wanted to do it at all.
Yeah, and honestly, if I'm him, I mean, if I just care about the fans and want to do it for that sake, fine. But I'm not in this business of like trying to put a whole bunch of like, I guess, stress behind it. But yeah, I'm glad he's doing it though. I think it'll be good.
It'll be
to
really
your
good.
point.
And I don't think Diddy is like a shoe in the way that he thinks he is. Not with.
Oh, he's lunching if he thinks he has clearly forgotten how much. If Dre plays by the same rules that Diddy plays by, then it's like, well, okay, let me just put out anything. Let me just include anything that like I'm attached to.
Yeah, exactly.
Then no, that will not. As a matter of fact, Dre wins that. If he plays by that rule, he wins.
His catalog is longer.
Correct.
If he goes way back to the 80s and stretches it to 2000, come on.
In my opinion, longer and better. In my opinion, but all right. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that.
At least Drake can say he didn't sample every single thing that he put out.
Right. and he could also say, I'm pretty much like the impetus behind like a type of music. Like Puff has done a lot of stuff, but it's not like music, that type of music started with him. East Coast rap didn't start with him, or whatever you want to call it. Now, he revolutionized a lot of stuff, and he's a great businessman, but Dre has a sound that a lot of people picked up and then went after. So we'll see, though. It'll be fun. It'll be great music. Man, now you want to talk about taking me back to the 90s, like that one will be like, okay, that's high school. Like pure and simple. So yeah, that'll be cool.
Yo, all Dre gotta do for me is drop doom 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 doom. That deep cover? Done.
Yeah, deep cover. Yep. Great.
Done.
So we'll be looking forward to those. But these battles have been excellent. Now, you got some stuff you've been looking at on TV? I got a couple quick things, but
nothing new per se. I've been watching Shaquille O'Neal's show on TNT that comes on every Thursday night.
How's that?
It's just him going around. Like he did like an episode where he kind of explained the whole Papa John's thing, because he got a lot of backlash about that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been mostly about him trying to become a DJ, or has traveling the world being a DJ, and it's not been going so well because he's trying to be an EDM DJ. And if the show is called Shaq Life. So a lot
I saw the title. Yeah.
Just traveling and trying to get his DJing up. So it's entertaining because it's Shaq, but it can't miss TV.
Yeah, Shaq, he's good on TV. So, all right. Well, we'll see how that goes.
That's the only thing I've been watching.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes for him. Well, there are a couple of things. There's some things I have not watched yet. I've just heard about, but I wanted to put on the radar. Number one, I didn't put on the list, but Insecure, I still need to catch up. I will. And by next episode, I want us to do a breakdown because, we need to talk about Insecure from what I've been seeing.
Okay.
Extraction. So this is a movie with Chris Hemsworth on Netflix, and it is getting crazy buzz. Yeah. I mean, people are like flipping out over this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but they're comparing it to stuff like Taken and stuff like that. Good for him for getting this out, man. I can't wait to see it. So I'll be seeing that this week.
Yeah, I was thinking I might watch that tonight after the episode. See if my mom watch it.
Yeah, I won't have time to watch it tonight because obviously, and we didn't really spend that much time on it, but The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, we talk a little bit about that, and the Bulls. You see, that's the problem right there.
Well,
I just said Michael Jordan.
Documentary is supposed to be about the Bulls season, but based on I've seen episode 1, I didn't watch episode 2, but based on that, it's been they've talked mostly about Michael Jordan. So
yeah, so I could tell you, episode 2 they expanded it beyond just Michael Jordan.
I think episode 2
Actually,
they talk more about Pippen.
yes, they did, and they talked about the team, and they'll be kind of jumping around. Of course, it's always going to come back to Jordan, and it did in a big way in episode 2, and I'll let you see that. But especially towards the end. But the next episode will be on actually probably in a few minutes. But it's going to be very good, so I'm looking forward to that. That's tonight, and then also the series finale of Homeland. And I know I've talked about it on the show. Haven't really gone into it. This was the 8th season of Homeland, the final one. I've always said it's been a good show. Showtime is not playing. They are not releasing it because normally they'll do an early release when some of their shows at least, and Homeland is one of them. They haven't done that. Now, they're not going to give me a 9 o'clock because I'm going to watch The Last Dance, but maybe later tonight. So that's the end of that era. Good show there. And then finally, a Netflix random pull. I know already, Tiger King, you're already out on that. This is actually called Don't Fuck with Cats. That's the name of the show. And it's true crime. It's a 4-part documentary on Netflix. Basically, it shows how people on the internet in groups are track down this person who essentially tortured a cat on a YouTube video and then put it out basically to upset and shock people. But he didn't leave any clues as to where he was or what his name was. He just was in a room and he did it. So then this group got together and they're tracking him down. I don't really, animals and all that, whatever. I don't think you should torture a cat, but that's besides the point. What fascinates me about this, especially in the time we live in, is how these people got together and pieced together clues from his room and used the power of the internet in a virtual group to track this man down. Especially in the times we're living in right now, where you have social distancing and everybody getting on the internet, social media, and hanging out. It shows you how powerful in a good way it is, but also how dangerous it can be. Because they found them. They tracked them down. And anybody can do anything with that information on the internet. So I'm halfway through it. It's 4 episodes. I'm through episode 2. And it's crazy. So that's all I've been watching. Stuff like that.
Dude goes to jail. Is he in jail?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Not just for torturing the cat. It gets a lot worse than that. But yeah, he's in jail. And I've been watching Law and Order and ID channel the whole time. So whatever. Oh, man.
Right. So you ready to get into sports?
Always. So what was the big sporting event this weekend?
The NFL Zoom draft.
Yes. Sham, what did you think about it? How much of it did you see?
0.
Really? All right. So here are the highlights of the draft. Okay. We'll do a whole NFL show like later on as we get closer to the season. In general, a lot of people didn't like the Eagles picks. So you can look at them and tell us your thoughts.
I know about that. I mean, I didn't watch the draft, but
yeah,
I was definitely on Twitter and yucking it up with some other Eagles fans, and we got rated a D+ for our draft.
Yeah, y'all got some strong blowback on your draft, but Raiders, I will give us a B. We addressed most of the needs except defensive linemen and linebackers. So I was a little upset at that, but we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
So, all right, in general, lost your mind when your first pick was a wide receiver?
No. I wanted that. That.
So did you want Henry Ruggs the third though? Is that who you wanted?
Yeah. I was cool. I was cool with either him or Judy. So I was cool with that.
Because a lot of people wanted Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Felt that he should have gone.
Or either Jerry Judy or CD Lamb. Lamb.
Well, the Cowboys got him.
Yeah, but he was still on the board when we got him. So
y'all picked before them.
Right. So I mean, but I was cool. I was like, as long as we address it. I was just mad that we did not address the position at all in the entire draft. So that was my problem. But I'm cool. We'll see how it shakes out. Maybe we'll get a free agent. All right. So on to general draft. I guess feedback. Independent of the picks and all that, just the format. So they still did in Vegas. We talked about that. Social distancing. The NFL really did a good job preparing this. It was still enjoyable to see. Roger Goodell, it probably one of his coolest moments and best moments as commissioner. Actually, like prompted they showed all the fans like virtually watching it, and they had this big set that you could see people watching in different places. And before it got started, he prompted all the fans to boo him like they normally boo him, and he was very tongue in cheek about that, and that was cool. So that was good. In general, the players, the ESPN and NFL Network and all those, they did a good job of having all the cameras and all the players. Now, they normally do that anyway, but this time you could tell they spent a lot of time getting the players and their families ready. Why is this important and funny, Sham? Because, as you probably heard, there were a lot of interesting little situations where these players got drafted. And they had their families, their moms, the dads, their brothers and sisters, and their girlfriends.
Isaiah Wilson. Let's go. Isaiah Wilson, sorry. Let's go.
So is Isaiah Wilson the one who his mom interfered in this?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell this, please?
Okay, so when Isaiah Wilson's name got called, he was picked in the second round by the Tennessee Titans. The camera was on him. He was laying back kind of on the sofa. When his name was called, his girlfriend sat in his lap and started hugging and like kissing on him or whatever. And his mom immediately comes over, grabs the girl like, nah, boo, get up. Like she forcibly removed the girl from his lap. Now, why is this important? Because Isaiah Wilson is black and the girlfriend was white.
Yeah.
So there's some speculation that it wasn't just because it was the girlfriend in the video trying to like basically steal her son's moment. I think it was because she was a white girlfriend. Also, a lot of people have been speculating that is also the reason.
And honestly, that's a fair speculation. I'm not going to put myself in his mother's head, and honestly, stop acting a fool. So there was that, and then to kind of strengthen the point of how are these people acting and who needs to understand why they're there. CD Lamb, who I just talked about, he was there with his girl. She was looking very nice, actually. She basically looked like an Instagram model sitting there next to him. So long story short, when he's about to get drafted, or right when he gets drafted, he gets the infamous call that you get, the Jerry Maguire type call. So he has a couple phones in his hand. He has one phone that I guess he's using for that, and then another phone. As he's on his one phone, and they have also these huge headsets on, she takes the other phone out of his hand.
Snatched it.
What it looks like she was getting ready to do was either probably take a little selfie with them together, or probably take something of herself and post like, oh, he just got drafted right now. To your point, I would call that a snatching. He snatched that right back. And just as smooth,
the way
it wasn't even, there was no vitriol. There was no like, I mean, he kind of gave her a side eye, like, what are you doing? But
he didn't even look at her when he did it.
Exactly.
Right back.
It was, and he kept smiling, and it wasn't so that because he knew he was on camera and all that, and she could tell she was embarrassed because she knew she was on camera, and she kind of turned around like, I can't believe. And you could tell they were talking a little bit. They kind of like said something under their breath to each other, and he shook his head like basically like, no, you're not getting the phone back, and like chill out.
Like why these chicks trying to steal their moments though?
Exactly. And his mother was sitting on the other side, and you were talking about mothers. She kind of smiled at it like, yeah, good. Yeah. It's not, you do that before I had to go over there and do it. So yeah, stuff like that. It's always interesting to kind of see, these players in their lives and stuff. But and then finally, people had a lot of complaints, and I'm one of them. The ESPN is try to turn this into the Olympics where everyone has a backstory. Mm-hmm. They were really, really reaching for a lot of these backstories. And yes, the players allow it and they put the business out there, but it was like every player, they just wanted to put out there that their parents were like in the street on drugs and this and that. And it's like, okay, we get it. Like, we feel like you guys are going out of your way just to make it seem like every single person who plays football like has some kind of rough life growing up. Like, stop putting their business in the street. But if the players like it, that's fine. I just felt like ESPN laid it on a little thick. Like Sham, I mean, they would put it up on the board like you would put up a stat. So they'd be like, he runs a 4.5. He had 10 tackles in the last game, and his mom was on drugs. It's like, that's a bullet point? Like, you could talk about it, but like, what is that? So they would put that up there. So, and that, the reason I bring it up, it struck a lot of people and put a lot of people off. So.
She said, I was just going to answer it for him. Sheesh. No, you weren't.
Oh, she said that?
Yeah. She said his agent was FaceTiming him while he was on the phone with Cowboys, and she was doing the girlfriend thing and was going to answer it for him. Sheesh.
Oh, well, no, don't answer his phone. Yeah, I mean, I ain't getting drafted.
I don't consider that a girlfriend thing. Like,
yeah, I was about to say, I'm not getting drafted by nobody. And I mean, yeah, don't answer my phone.
I've been a girlfriend, believe it or not, and I've never wanted to. As much as I talk about,
it's one of those things like, don't answer my phone unless I ask you to answer.
Exactly, like nah.
Just like I wouldn't answer a woman's phone. Now,
to even reach for someone else's phone and answer it, like this.
Yeah, the best thing I might do is if you left your phone in front of me and I saw somebody calling, I would be like, hey, somebody's calling you.
Right.
Yeah. And if I see who it is, like that, not that I had to look for it, but if it's like it pops up like, hey, your mom's calling or whatever.
And why would you answer it if he's already on the phone with the Cowboys? You think he's going to have a conversation with the Cowboys and FaceTime his agent at the same time? No.
Exactly. So, but it was fun though. The NFL did a good job. The NFL, I mean, out of all the sports leagues, they're really, I think this is hopefully in their mind working out for them schedule wise, will they be able to resume the season? So they're still going to keep everything moving, try to do as much virtual stuff. The last thing before we get to our last topic, some of the coaches' houses and GMs, your man Cliff Kingsbury out there and Sean McVay. I mean, damn, Sham, they out there looking like Hollywood directors looking over the cliffs of the West Coast. They were out there balling. It was crazy.
They like
that. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. You got to look at everyone's houses as opposed to the team war room or whatever. So that was crazy.
Before we move on, I just wanted to say that the one area that we definitely needed was a cornerback, and we did not do that. I am pleased though that we picked up some tackles, well, actually some offensive linemen, guard and a tackle, which I've been like screaming about since the season ended because we lost 2 tackles. And we picked up 3 wide receivers, which I guess kind of makes sense. But the biggest thing was that we picked up Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. And I don't know if I told you this, but I had been calling Jalen Hurts my spirit animal because I like what happened from him, like leaving Alabama, going to Oklahoma and like all that stuff. I thought it was cool how he was able to turn that around. But a lot of people are like, why would you draft Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round when you just paid Carson Wentz $128 million? Right. So people are speculating that either Carson Wentz's job is really in jeopardy, which I wouldn't think so after you just paid him that much, or that he's just there to motivate him to stay healthy. Because at any point, Carson Wentz could just be out for a few games of the season.
Yeah, which is sad to say.
Yeah.
But very true.
But now people are speculating that Jalen Mills will probably end up back at corner because we didn't sign any.
Jalen Mills, he has Jeffrey Lurie on tape doing something illegal. Oh, man. As long as that dude is on your team, I have a smile on my face anytime we talk about the Eagles because after every segment, I'm going to ask if he's still on the team.
Green Goblin is still on the team, but he has a 1-year deal, so we'll see how this goes if this year gets started.
All right. Well, last thing I had for sports, this is actually it's not even a big story. It's just more of an update. From what I see, the NBA is going to allow the players who live in cities that are in states, obviously, that are opening up this week to and we didn't really talk about that, but yeah, some states are opening up, so
that just
we'll cover that. Yeah. They're going to allow those players to go to facilities and practice, and those teams to go to facilities and practice under restriction. I don't understand what restriction means, but apparently they do.
Well, so they're saying that they're going to let them practice in facilities where the local restrictions have eased in those jurisdictions.
Yeah. So
where they're opening up the governments, they can go play.
Right. But I think, so we were saying the same thing, but what I'm saying is I think they even still want to monitor it.
Well, they have to
monitor the way that they practice. So that's why.
Monitor the way that they practice. Taking temperatures daily.
Yeah. So the NBA is hoping that this is like step, not even one, like step half to trying to get this season back on track and finish it up, because they still want to finish up the season. So we'll see how that story develops. I would like the NBA to finish up the season somehow once we get a better sense of what's happening. So at least they're still on their radar. Yeah, so that's all I got as far as radars and stories. Sham, listen, we got some big stuff coming up. We always tell the listeners, but I sent some stuff to you. We sent some stuff to each other. And we kept this one short because we got some exciting stuff on the horizon. We cooking up.
No, we kept this one short because you wanted to watch The Last Dance. Don't lie to folks.
No, I'm not lying to my family. I'm not lying to my family. Listen, guys, we don't have much. There's not much out here. But yes, I will be watching The Last Dance in a few minutes.
Exactly.
Yes. So stop playing family. Y'all watch it with me, all right? We'll see you guys on social media. Sham, take us out.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stop Playing Podcast with Sham and Shaka. As always, you can hit us up on Instagram and Facebook at the Stop Playing Podcast. You can also visit us on Twitter at Stop_Playing Pod. You can hit up me on Twitter at That Sports Chick or on Instagram at Miss Sham Says. And like I always say, keep your chips on the plate. No double dipping unless it's the podcast. And we'll see you real soon.
Stop playing.